First of all, thank you, Jawad, for having me. And as you know, that all eyes were set on this important summit between President Xi Jinping and President Donald Trump, which occurred after 9 years of lapse. And the last visit was paid by Donald Trump as well. So, what I see from this summit is that there are a lot of gains to Beijing. First is that from confrontation, today, United States of America came with the concept of cooperation. Before embarking on the journey, they have removed the NVIDIA H20 chips export control, and also the advanced H200 chips control has also been removed and offered that they could be exported to China. Other than that, you could see the body language was completely different. I mean, the optics matters in diplomacy, from handshakes to walking style and other gestures. Clearly reflected that President Donald Trump was very cautious, quiet, and very calculated. Today, Beijing is offering and reflecting itself as a partner, as an equal partner.
You've just described it, Dr. Masood. I'm curious to understand, you've just talked about that Beijing is operating from a position of being equals. I want your understanding. When we try to analyze the entire equation during this particular visit, was it a meeting or a summit or a bilateral visit between the two equals, or did we see any side having some sort of a slight edge over the other?
I didn't see that there was any some sort of an edge between the two parties. Why I say this? Because in 2026, the concept which was proposed by President Xi Jinping in June 2013 with his meeting with Obama in the United States, when he proposed the concept of new model of major country cooperation. And finally, in 2026, that came to fruition. That itself is a big win for Beijing. What Beijing is talking about is not confrontation, it's talking about cooperation. And why President Xi Jinping gave the particular example of Thucydides' trap, because that is very pertinent, that Beijing portray itself as a trade partner. Because when we talk about a hegemon, then we talk about the sphere of influence, then we talk about geopolitics. That's not what Beijing's rise. Beijing rise is grounded in geoeconomics. Its rise is grounded in cooperation, in win-win outcomes, in trade competition, but managed competition. Another important factor is that President Xi Jinping clearly draw a red line on Taiwan. And in response, we saw that President Donald Trump remained quiet. This clearly reflects that this is again a big win for Beijing. So very clearly, Beijing was able to draw its line right from the outset.
Dr. Masood's opinion regarding the crisis or the security of Strait of Hormuz, the taxation, the proposal of which Iran has put forth, and opposition of the US side on that. Also, when we try to analyze that statement by the White House, which refers to President Xi Jinping opposing the militarization of the Strait of Hormuz, can that statement also, or that particular term militarization, be also seen through the lens of that military blockade the US has subsequently put in place over there in Strait of Hormuz? Dr. Masood, what do you say?
Actually, I've been listening to a lot of analysts, and I think they're misreading it, because language matters. Even in a communique, Beijing has been very cautious and very calculated when it comes to language. Nowhere Beijing has used explicitly the word Hormuz. They have said that there has to be free navigation in the international waterways, which is under international law, which is absolutely fine. The militarization of Hormuz is, of course, it's not in favor of Beijing either, because we know that China is dependent on its gas and oil supplies from this corridor. So it's equally important for Beijing as well. But I think that if you can recall the foreign minister Arabchi's visit to Russia and China, I think a lot was already discussed in those meetings with China. I mean, on Washington is trying to amplify this Strait of Hormuz issue, but on Beijing side, I think they will never allow or alienate itself from Iran and from its major partners in the entire Gulf states, because the Belt and Road Initiative has big stakes in that region. And then another point is that President Putin is visiting next week in Beijing. That visit is extremely important because in that visit, the collective security mechanism will be discussed of the West Asia, in which, of course, Iran will have its important and integral role along with its other partners. Pakistan also has a very important and central role in mediating moving forward. So in that way, I think Beijing has been very calculated when it came to Strait of Hormuz, when it came to nuclearization, because Beijing has always been supporting the legitimacy of Iran to have its nuclear enrichment for peaceful nuclear purposes. So the ambiguity itself says that China is standing with Iran and also with its other regional partners in the Gulf state.
Right. Dr. Yasir Masood, geostrategic and political analyst, thank you very much for taking time out for Unfold tonight. We really appreciate